And now is the time to hand over the mic uh, s- uh, to a new anchor for today's event. Yes, I'm talking about Miss Akriti Kaur, the student of semester first of Carbon College of Education, Canal Road, Jammu. So over to you, Akriti. All the very
Thank
best.
you. Thank you, Ravinder. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes, yes, you are very much audible, Akriti.
All right. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for having me amongst such learned personalities from the field of education. So far, this conference has been going on wonderfully well, and now I think it's time for technical session number 8. So for that, I would like to have on screen Dr. Darshana Sharma. Ma'am, are you here with us? Okay, I think she's unable to join us, and in that case, I would like to have Dr. Sushma Bala Chauhan. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, of
Ma'am is
course.
there. Sushma ma'am is there.
All right, Dr. Sushma Bala Chauhan. She's the senior assistant professor in our college, Government College of Education, Canal Road, Jammu. And she's also the coordinator of the Research Hub, having a teaching experience of more than 20 years. She's currently trying to actively participate in the teaching learning process. I welcome you wholeheartedly, ma'am, and now over to you.
Thank you, Akriti. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. First
Thank
of
you.
all, I would like to welcome you all present over here on the screen. And I'm personally thank to Dr. Shubhra, our organizing secretary, our worthy principal ma'am, and the whole team of this GCOE, and all the other institutes who are with us in this 3-day international virtual conference. Really, it's going on very nicely. And welcome especially to our presenters of this technical session. Before going to start our this technical session, I would like to just share a few, not we can say that instruction, just keep watch on the time because we are already running late. So please try to communicate what do you want to say in, in crux. Because in spite of reading the papers, I think personally, this is my own opinion, just try to, sum total all those thoughts, your personal views, your thinkings, that what do you want to convey in on this platform. I think then that is much better. And the time we will more spent on the discussion or the question answer session. So you please, Akriti, uh, even I just try to welcome our first presenter. I think it is jointly presented by Roy and the second one. Could you please, Akriti, you have that schedule?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Please allow
You
me some
please. I think that
time.
is on virtual learning, and the presenters. I think they also have joined now.
Yeah, we are there, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to be here on this platform and to share our views. I, along with Dr. M.M. Roy, are going to present this session. If you give for your kind permission, ma'am, if you do give, we'll follow.
Yeah, you please proceed. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for that. So I hope you are able to see my screen. And as you can see that our topic is virtual training, a way forward for in-service teachers. And I and Roy sir, both of us belongs to DIET SCRT Delhi. And in 1718, before going for that, I'll be just telling you what are the things which we are going to discuss in our presentation. And that's introduction, description of the process, tools used, findings and conclusions, and also keeping in mind the time limit given to us by Sushma ma'am. So before, I just want to give you a little bit background and introduction of that. As in 17 and 18, we started this program with an app known as Chocolate. And here what we did was, first of all, we prepared the material, the modules for that. And for that, we had a proper system where we have some project director, academic coordinators, and then the academic experts and the contributors who contributed in developing these modules. And what were developed, I just want to discuss that with you first. So before developing these modules, what was done was we did the need analysis, and this was done with the TGT English, trained graduate teachers of English who are teaching in Delhi. So in this case, we prepared 6 modules. The first was the introduction to the training. The second one was about English language learning, and the module 2, 3, 4, and 5 were based on each different skills. I'll just elaborate that in a few minutes. And the 6th one was how we are going to implement that in our classrooms. So if I talk about module, the 4 modules, that is from module 2 to module 5, they were based on all the language skills, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And in these modules, we try to incorporate that ways through which the students can be helped to develop these skills, and what are the techniques and different terminologies which are associated with these skills. And we were having one thing, that is the learning indicator and learning outcome, which has now become, and we mapped all those things with the NCERT learning outcomes, earlier with indicators and later on with outcomes. And various activities were built around these skills. And also we were focusing on integrated assessment, that is assessment for learning, assessment as learning with these modules. So I'll just give you a feel how I could, with the help of the screenshots which I've taken from that. And this was how it looks. So teachers were supposed to click on these things, and then it was supposed to open like this. If you can look at the listening one. So it was in brief, we have given the things, but if the teacher is interested to read more or something in detail, then they were supposed to click on this blue, which is underlined. For that, they can further read the concept in detail. Similarly, you can see that bottom-up strategy, pre-listening activities, and post-listening activities. So teachers were free to click on these and read in more details. And these are the cursory or brief details about the things which we are supposed to discuss.
Yeah, ma'am, your presentation is not moving actually. We are still on the first slide.
Oh, is it like that?
Yeah, now it has gone yeah, now it has started moving. Thank you.
Okay, then I'll just do one thing. Now, are you able to see now?
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, so this was the thing which you are, if you can able to see, it's search chocolate. Are you able to see the search chocolate?
We are seeing that listening.
Okay, you're at the listening. So I think I can minimize it, and then it will be more visible. Now it is visible?
Yeah, we are listening strategies, concept.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you can see in listening also, we talked about a lot of different things like top-down approach, bottom-up strategy, pre-listening activities, post-listening activities, while listening activities. So all these were included in their module. And then each module were having many videos, but one thing that we kept in our mind was the duration. The duration of the video were very small, about 4 to 6 or 7 minutes, not more than that, so that the teachers can really gain some interest in watching those videos instead of just moving and having a cursory look at that. So we just focus on the essential part of that instead of not wasting our time and elaborating those videos. And then similarly, we had about reading, and that I just gave you the feel by showing one of the videos. One more thing, one of the skill. One more thing that we kept in our mind was we tried to take the chapters which were related to their syllabus in our modules, so that they can directly take these activities, these concepts and the different strategies to their classes. Even they took the videos also as it is to their classes. So what we did was, the program was for 10 days, and we just had the teacher's perception questionnaire also for that. And that questionnaire was consisting of various themes. like topics and skills covered in the training, use of activities, resources and teaching methodology, teaching learning process, assessment, all those things. And what we came to know was, even when we talked to those teachers who had completed those things, is very interesting. First of all, the thing which they loved was they are free to attend those things at their own pace, because it was not time, it was given a huge time, 10 days, and the material was not very huge in that case. So they can see that as per their availability, as per their comfortable zone, and as per their pace. They were free to repeat those videos, reread and reread if they are not able to clear that. And one more thing was there, that on every 20 to 25 teachers, we had a mentor with them. Suppose they struggle somewhere, they are not able to understand any concept, they face some problems. So they were free to share those things with those mentors also. So they were free to raise the questions, and we as mentors and along with my team, we all were there to help them. So the same process now, when all of a sudden we are thrown in such a pandemic, so we are using those things again, and we are also using these things with some added things. Like recently we had conducted a virtual training of newly appointed TGTs and PGTs. So in this, we used our Cisco platform and we tried to reach them. And with some of them, we used our previous modules, and with the PGT groups, we had our new things. So what I mean to say here is, what they shared was that this virtual training which they had attended is really helping them nowadays in their online teaching also. Because now when they are sharing, they do share with us that now they realize that they should not share the huge videos or the voluminous things or some reading material which is much in detail, because what they appreciated at that time was the duration of the videos, the content which we shared with them, which was very relevant to them. And if they want to go in detail, they are free to choose as per their topic and read that in detail. So what this we did as an innovation at that time, but we never knew that this is again going to help us in such a pandemic, and not only us, but our teachers to take these things to their classes also. So they are also using some of the material as such, because as I told you, the majority of the things were based on their textbooks and syllabus. Now I would like to request Roy Saab to please move further with the methodology part. And Roy sir, please, are you there?
Yeah. Thank you, Meena ji. In the slide, it is some mistake. It should be methodology here. Okay. We have contacted 162 TGT
are you
English
able to
teachers.
see the methodology? Sorry, are you able to see the
162 TGT English teachers were the sample for the study, and we used survey method to collect the data. And for this, the teacher perception questionnaire was used to collect the data. And for this, Google form was prepared. Now I'll share the findings of the study. First of all, we found that the majority of the teachers, near about 61%, found that the topics of the material covered in the training was very useful and good. And majority of the teachers also agreed to use the activities from the training into their teaching learning process. About 90% of the teachers liked the videos and the duration, and said that they are going to use the videos, images, and other resources from the training into their teaching learning process. Next slide, please, ma'am.
Are you able to see the slide?
Near about 80% of the teachers. Previous one, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. 80% of the teachers agreed that the training communicated the topics very well. 47.5% of the teachers strongly agreed that they were having enough time to complete the training, and 68% of the teachers agreed with the time suggested for various modules to complete, and they were also able to complete the modules in the allotted time. majority of the teachers, that is 75%, could easily access the training on Chocolate, and the majority of the teachers, 76%, could easily navigate through the training. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now, in conclusion, this program reached to a larger group without creating crowded classroom. The teachers felt free and confident in learning by going through the content more than once at their own pace. Their real-time progress was tracked and they were motivated to complete it in time. This program gave them an insight and a feel how students learn in an online mode and what works well and what does not work. Majority of the teachers recommended such trainings to their fellow teachers. Ma'am, please, next slide.
Yeah, it's there on the screen. sir.
Yeah. Please, now way forward. Now, online training program is one of the greatest revolution for the CPD. That is the continuous professional development in contemporary education by making a change in the system and opening great opportunities for every teacher who wants to learn. Thank you very much for patient listening.
Thanks a lot. Heartfelt thanks for listening patiently to us.
Good.
I will stop
You have-
sharing. Yeah.
You have, Meena ma'am, you have very beautifully take consideration the time limit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Very okay. Now, I think the house is open for the questions or any discussions.
Yeah, but thank you, Sushma ma'am, with your permission. There is nothing of feedback sort of, but I'm sharing my own emotional delight that I'm really very happy that something for the teachers have done at least now. If ma'am remember that in the morning I was talking about teachers should do this, teachers should do that, but how to train the teacher? And as a matter of fact, Sushma ma'am, I was just thinking, just while during the madam's presentation, Roy sir and Sehrawat madam presentation, that we are talking about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and still we are not able to adapt it. We are talking about mask and social distances. We are not able to adapt it. But it is the only teaching community, only the teachers who have immediately adopted from the traditional to the online classes. So look at the flexibility of Indian teachers. I mean, you have done a commendable job to both the presenters, talking about how teachers should enhance themselves, their skills. However, I wonder if there is one thing, there is something called as neuro-linguistic programming. And since I am one of the neuro-linguistic programming trainer, I think it should, some videos regarding that can also be added. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Great.
I don't talk, I mean, it is just to how from body language, vocabulary, you can differentiate the students as an auditory, visual and kinesthetic, how to give feedback, how to build rapport, how to anchor students for, we talk about reinforcement. How to do anchoring at the subconscious level. So NLP works in that way. So I think this kind of course should, or some topics can be added. It will certainly add skill to the teacher.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much and congratulations. Thank you, Sushma ma'am, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Any more questions from the house? So shall we move to our next presenter? Okay. I would like to invite our next presenters, Shinay Vashisht and Professor Fauzia Khan. Again, it is jointly paper presented by these both, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi. Once again, the topic is very interesting. Online learning through mobile phones. The stance of economically marginalized Sapera families from an urban village of Delhi, India. So, yes.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shiny Vedish. I am
welcome.
Thank you,
welcome
Thank
you all.
very much. I'm a PhD research scholar in ISC Department of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia. This paper has been jointly written by me and Professor Fauzia Khan, ISC Department of Teacher Training and Non-Formal Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia. So as you all know, the topic of my presentation, if I have already shared my screen, if it is visible to you all. Yes?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yeah. The topic of my presentation is online learning through mobile phones, the stance of economically marginalized Sapera families from an urban village of Delhi, India. So as a part of my PhD research, I was basically focusing on the denotified communities. Two of them were Sapera and Sansi community. While visiting these settlements, during the lockdown also and after the lockdown and 1 year post it, I had a chance to speak with the families of the students who are going to government schools. So 10 of the families were contacted, and the students were from class 6 to class 12. So while speaking to them, I got to know about how they are coping with the mobile learning model of online learning during the pandemic. So just to give you an idea about the community, first I would like to take 1 or 2 minutes for that. So Sapera communities, as we all know, these are the snake charmers, and they were notified under Criminal Tribes Act in 1871 by the Britishers, and this same act was repealed post independence in 1952, but eventually they were put under Habitual Offenders Act. So Habitual Offenders Act or Criminal Tribes Act बेसिकली इन कम्युनिटीज को एक क्रिमिनल बैगेज देते हैं. हमने कई बार सुना होगा कि पुलिस जो है कुछ लोगों को फटाफट पकड़ के ले जाती है अगर उनके एरिया में कुछ क्राइम होता है. सो दिस इज द क्रिमिनल बैगेज. If you belong to a community of a criminal tribe or the community who used to indulge or basically indulges in anti-social activities, you are bound to get socially stigmatized because of that. So these are basically such communities. They are marginally, they are living on the margins of the society. They are socially marginalized. They are economically marginalized, and most of them from the settlement that I visited were below the poverty line. So while I was interacting with them, I would like to share the objectives of this paper basically. So I took 10 families. With these families, with the parents of these students and the students, I interacted with them, and there was a questionnaire and interview thing happening. This was basically a qualitative study. So before I give you the details of my study, let us just go through the objectives that I had in mind. These were to understand the opinions of parents and students regarding online learning through mobile phones, to identify the pros and cons of online learning through mobile phones, to identify the socio-economic basis of issues related to online learning through mobile phone, and to identify the occurrences of dropout of online learning to the online learning through mobile phone. When the sample was contacted, 10 families were taken. Out of these families, one parent from each family was taken, and 22 students were there in the sample. Out of these 22 students, 12 were boys and 10 were girls between the class of 6 to 12. They were interviewed in July 2020 when the online learning was going on, and after the school session was completed in April 2021, these families were recontacted. So I am discussing the findings of my research. So when I spoke to the families, many issues came up which had certain economic basis, which has certain social basis. Dropouts were happening. So I'm compiling my findings under these 5 categories. Parental views. Initially, the parents were very optimistic about teaching. About the education of their about the education of their children, because Most of these children were first generation learners. The parents basically never went to school, or even if they got the chance to go to school, they dropped out early in the primary classes because education was not supported for female child, and for the male child they had to contribute to the family's income, so they had to drop out. So basically the children of this sample, they were mostly first generation learners. So these families were more than happy that their education is continuing even if the pandemic is happening. These communities had basically lost their livelihood during the pandemic because as we all know, snake charmers used to perform with snakes, and they used to perform with this endangered species which was basically banned after certain acts of environment conservation. Due to that, they had to shift their livelihood to playing trumpets and dholes at wedding processions. So now the weddings were not happening, social gatherings were not happening, so these musicians could not find any good livelihood. So they were basically at the end of they were surviving on the rationing given by the government at this point of time. So they had no savings, they had no monthly income whatsoever. So supporting their children's education while putting in their savings and while putting in the money that they're barely earning into mobile recharges for data plans was really difficult for these families. So there was a economic constraint which was very visible because these families could barely support their daily needs now, and they had to support their children's educational needs now. So most of the parents, they could not afford giving their child mobile phones. They could not afford monthly recharges for the data plans. So on because of that, their education was suffering. When I spoke to the students, there were 22 students. Basically, they were initially very happy with how the education is happening because it was a very new thing for them, and they were very excited. But over the period of time, they reported boredom, they reported monotony, they reported problems in understanding various concepts like mathematical concepts, because it is easier for us to understand when we are being taught face to face by a teacher. In government schools, these students basically are not achieving very well. These children were not very good achievers in schools. When they were exposed to online learning, the concepts of science and mathematics, they were failing miserably. Also, they also reported that this way of teaching learning is basically a one-way method, बिकॉज जो टीचर्स हैं वो क्लास शुरू होती है वो पहले ही बोल देते हैं कि आप अपने कैमरा का माइक ऑफ कर दीजिए, आप क्लास में नहीं बोलेंगे, यू विल नॉट पार्टिसिपेट, लेट मी फिनिश ऑफ द लेसन और द असाइंड कॉन्सेप्ट फर्स्ट, उसके बाद फिर अटेंडेंस होती है और उसके बाद क्लास खत्म हो जाती है. तो मोस्टली क्या होता था, बच्चों को ये प्रॉब्लम थी कि हम लोग इंटरैक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे, वी आर नॉट एबल टू इंटरैक्ट विद द टीचर्स, वी आर नॉट एबल टू इंटरैक्ट विद आवर peers. Because of that, there was monotony happening in the classrooms, and this created disinterest in the students as well. As I discussed before, the economic constraints, the third finding that I have, the economic constraints were huge. Weddings were not happening. The parents of these children were not able to earn livelihood through their profession, the traditional profession of dhol playing. So now these parents were doing labor work. They were going to labor chalks regularly to gain a livelihood, but because of the shortage of any construction work and demand in for the laborers, these people were not getting picked up. So this was another issue, because for regularly investing in the mobile recharges, it becomes difficult for a family who's already living under the poverty line, and it is barely earning any income during the pandemic. So it was putting a lot of pressure on the pockets of these parents. Another issue which came up was issues related to online learning through mobile phones. These children reported that the mobile phones that they have are either broken, they have broken screens, the cameras are not working, the phones are not compatible with WhatsApp, or they are not smartphones. And what sometimes happens is the phone memory is not very good, so they cannot upload the assignments, or they cannot download the videos the video lectures that teachers have shared on the WhatsApp groups. See, what I'm talking about is the initial phase of this online learning. It started from teaching online through WhatsApp. WhatsApp groups were made. Teachers used to put assignments and video recordings and audio notes in that WhatsApp group, and students used to submit their homeworks and assignment on the group itself. Later on, training of the teachers happened, and there was a transition from teaching through WhatsApp to Google Classroom, and later on classes were started on Google Meet itself. But in the period of teaching through WhatsApp, these issues came up. Teachers used to upload heavy files of audio recordings, heavy files of video lectures, and heavy files, basically heavy PDF files, and these children were not able to download it because they did not had fast internet connections or memory in their devices. So this was another problem which these children face. Another issue was there was one phone in the mostly there was one phone in the family. There were 4 or 5 or 2 or 3 siblings. Everybody was taking online classes, and it was becoming difficult for these children to concentrate on their education and take up classes, because everybody has to utilize one smartphone if they have. Also, if the parents go out for work, they take the phone with them. So now the students don't have any smartphone at their disposal. So what they used to do was they used to give the mobile phone numbers of their neighbors or the local shopkeepers, so that they can have access to the assignments which the teacher has been uploading. But they also reported कि मैम जो shopkeepers हैं, जो हमारे neighbors हैं, वो हमारे assignments delete कर देते हैं because उन्हें लगता है कि हमारा फोन बहुत हेवी हो रहा है. हमारे स्कूल से जो कॉल्स आती हैं उनको रिजेक्ट कर दिया जाता है बिकॉज उन्हें लगता है कि वो बार बार डिस्टर्ब हो रहे हैं. सो देवर मोर देन economic issues, psychological issues was also being faced by these students. There was stress because there was this anxiety because because you are not able to get access to what other students are getting, right? So this is a multiple faceted problem which these children were facing. Another issue which came up was this was the issue of dropout. When I recontacted these families after the session was completed, I spoke to these families, I spoke to these children in April 2021, last month. I got to know that out of 22 children, 6 had dropped out. Amongst these 6 dropouts, there were 4 girls and 2 boys were there. Let me just, there were 4 girls and 2 boys were there. So when I spoke to them about what were the issues behind you dropping out, why were you not, the dropout basically happened. They stopped answering the calls of the school. They stopped participating. They stopped submitting the assignments. That's how the dropping out happened. So when I spoke to them about the issues behind their decision to not participate in the school activities, they gave a plenty of reasons which basically revolved around the economic aspect, the migration they had, because they were mostly migrant laborers now. Many families migrated back to their native places. Because of that, they could not take up education now. Few girls dropped out because it was too much to take in. They had to help the family in earning livelihood now. Some girls even went to work as maids with their mothers to different houses in order to earn a livelihood for the family. So many children dropped out, and these 6 children were just from 10 families. So imagine the amount of dropout that happened in the entire community. So for such incidents, there can be few suggestions which can be adopted to help dealing with such issues, because online learning is still happening in our country. We are teaching through mobile phones, we are teaching to laptops, and it is basically difficult for the children from the lower socio-economic background to understand the concepts and to get connected with the teacher on an effective manner. So the suggestions which can be incorporated in the present scenario could be making the learning enjoyable. In making learning enjoyable, as in giving not just giving monotonous homeworks, we can also ask them to make some dramatical skits. Video related assignments can be given, movies related assignments can be given, movie reviews can be suggested, projects can be made more innovative. Interaction is also very important. Interaction should be encouraged at this point, because already everybody is feeling very lonely. It's just the family that you have next to you, if you are lucky at this time. Otherwise you are not able to interact with your peers, your school teachers. So interaction is very must if we want this model to get successful. Another is providing easy to access and easy to understand resources. So instead of putting in a lot of pressure on these students and their parents, what teachers can do is they can share the e-links, they can share the YouTube links, they can share the online lecture links, instead of uploading heavy files, instead of uploading heavy videos of the online lectures into the WhatsApp groups. So that if and when the child has access to internet, strong internet connection, they can whenever they are comfortable, they can access to these resources. Other than this, there should be flexibility in submission. See, the times are very hard, these are very exceptional times for everybody. So teacher can hardly know what issues the families of these children are facing, because there's so many children in the classroom, and we are just basically speaking to the screen. So what the least a teacher could do is give them extra time for submissions. Providing psychological support is also very important. The school counselors are there. There's a provision of school counselors, and their contact details could be shared with the students, and they can be encouraged to speak to the counselors of the school as and when required. And this will basically address the anxiety, the depression, and the stress these children are having while sitting at home. And this can prove very good in encouraging and dealing with the mental health of children. Another important suggestion could be subsidizing the smartphone purchase. See, if the government, there is a provision, as everybody know, in various states, that children are given subsidized purchases on laptops, but there is a certain set of community which do not have Wi-Fi connections. So giving them subsidized smartphone or a concession on purchasing a basic smartphone to these children could be a very good option here, because they can have easy access to education through a smartphone, right? So subsidy for smartphone purchase could be there. Government assistance for mobile data recharge. This was announced by the Delhi government last year, and this can prove to be a very good suggestion for this session, this school session as well. Connecting to help groups. NGOs, our community can help these communities who are economically marginalized, socially marginalized, to connect with certain help groups which can help them in gaining livelihood, regaining the economic grounding for the family. That can be very helpful. And lastly, what we observed last year, a certain section of students, a certain section of NGOs or civil society organization conducted a drive for donating smartphones. The smartphones which are in working condition, and these smartphones were donated to the children who were in need of it. So the poor children, the needy children were given smartphones, the second-hand smartphones by the NGOs and the civil society organization. So pooling in of community resources can prove to be really good at this point of time, because we all need to support each other. These times are really hard. People are basically not earning, and the ones who are literally at the margins of the society are facing the wrath of time. They are forced to migrate. They don't have healthcare system supporting them. So education is it is not a healthy atmosphere for the children of such families, and we cannot expect them to get under the burden of education through lots of giving them lots of stimulus. So the least we can do is, as a civil society organization, NGOs and the community, we can help them out by pooling in the resources. The conclusion would to my presentation would be, see, this is an exceptional time. We all have been facing.
Shine, please, you in your own words, don't read it out. Just conclude in your own views.
These are my own words, ma'am. I'm not reading.
Yeah, I know, but there is now the shortage of time. Just
Yes,
conclude in
I'm
your
just
own 1 or 2
concluding.
lines. Yes.
Yes. So the government steps, the steps from the schools and steps from the civil society can help manage this situation, and can help incorporating these students and reabsorbing these students in the education setup, and can ensure continuity of education for these children to some extent. So I would like to close my presentation now. Thank you.
Shine, it's a really wonderful topic here. It's totally unique, at least for me.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And you have very beautifully presented this. If there is any question or discussion you want to do, anyone, present it over here on the screen.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, Shaini.
Yes.
It was very wonderful talking about the Sapera community, because we hardly found a huge Sapera community in Jammu itself. However, if ever you want to expand the dimension of your research, perhaps you can do the comparative study of Bakarwal community over here.
I have studied.
Yeah, but there is one contrast that you will find, that the Sapera community are very motivated to learn, but the Bakarwal community is not very motivated to learn. So if you see the thing, perhaps you can do that also. Now, coming point to, there are 2 points I want to discuss with you. You said that the internet connection was not very strong for the students of Sapera community. I believe that they are from the periphery of Delhi, right? Near Delhi. So it is J&K state where 2G was working. Rest of the India was getting a proper 4G connection, and there are other college students and school students who were getting the 4G, taking 4G connection. The signal will go through into all mobiles, whether from Sapera community or from private school students. So why usually these people face internet issues?
See, basically, it's not about the speed of the internet. It is basically about affording the internet plan.
Yeah, that is the point.
Exactly.
So
And
it should be portrayed that
Exactly.
affording the
And
financial
after some
crisis.
point of time,
Second point you have mentioned, Shaini, that to make you have given wonderful suggestions and what is how to make it more interactive, and certainly all the points are very practical and very true. Whereas at one point there is one just point where there is little contrast in your views. At one point, you said that they have most of the reasons of dropout was the they revolved around the financial grounds. These were your words itself. And at the same time, you are suggesting that movie reviews and the projects should be given to make teaching interesting. That is, I would like to know how, because even to watch a movie, they have to go to the theater, or not that. Then they would have to watch on the mobile phone. For that also, for 2 hours of internet connection, they have to pay to any subscriber or to any internet provider. Again, it comes to the financial ground for which.
Let me answer you on that. Let's not complicate this thing. It's a movie review. I mean, asking children to write movie reviews is not about downloading a movie or watching that particular movie on the spot. कि आपको आज देखनी है, इसका review आप करके लाइए. I am discussing here. I was giving suggestions for breaking the monotony. So आपने जरूरी नहीं वो मूवी आज देखनी हो या कल देखी हो सकता है आपने पहले भी मूवी देखी हो. I teach BH students. When I spoke to them about certain movies जो gender issues को deal करती हैं, transgender issues को deal करती हैं, तो उन्होंने वो मूवीज नहीं बताई जो उन्होंने कल ही देखी थी या परसों देखी थी. कई मूवीज ऐसी होती हैं जो आपको हमेशा याद रहती हैं, right? I don't want to name any movie here, But
Elena ji, कुछ होता है, even we remember it even after 20 years now.
हाँ, आपको कुछ मूवीज याद रहती हैं, कुछ critically acclaimed मूवीज होती हैं. So my point is breaking the monotony. This is just one suggestion.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And
Thank you.
answering you on that, that is just an assumption, sir, that you had ki Sapera community is very motivated or Bakarwal it depends on the community. Community to community वो कहाँ रह रहे हैं, वो rural area में रह रहे हैं, urban area में रह रहे हैं, and it depends upon family to family also. जो सैंपल मेरा था उसमें जरूरी नहीं कि सारी जो फैमिलीज थी वो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन थी. एक आध फैमिली शायद पॉवर्टी लाइन के नीचे नहीं भी आती थी, बट द बेसिक कंडीशंस ऑफ द फैमिली, इफ यू हैव लाइक 8 people in your family, surviving on the income of one person who's barely earning 10,000
Which
a
is
month.
very difficult, very true.
It is very difficult, and on top of it, recharging the mobile phones for your education, उसमें इंटरनेट स्पीड
It doesn't fall into the priority for them.
Exactly. और उसके अंदर ये होता है कि इतने सारे बच्चे हैं, अब कौन सा बच्चा किस टाइम पे किस क्लास को एक्सेस कर सकता है.
Absolutely.
That is the main issue.
Yeah.
तो अगर
No,
गवर्नमेंट
it
से
is clear.
सब्सिडाइज
Thank you.
अगर हमें डिवाइसेस मिल जाएं या फिर हम सोसाइटी से ही पुल इन करें कुछ रिसोर्सेज, तो काफी मदद हो सकती है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
Yes.
Very true. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shane, and your co-author, Professor Fozia Khan. But I would like to share my own opinion also here. This is not a question. This is just, from my own feelings. This pandemic has given a lot of challenges to us, no doubt. But I think it has also given us a few positives.
Yes.
Like, like the person like me, I was very much far away from this social media. I don't like this, Facebook, even WhatsApp. But I have also to come forward. Why? To attend sometimes the webinars on the Facebook. At present, I am with you all. So I think मेरे को एक webinar याद आ रहा है, क्योंकि in this period I have attended a number of webinars. कुछ के तो certificates भी हमें नहीं मिले, but I love to attend these webinars. उसमें हमारे मिनिस्टर थे रमेश पोखरियाल जी, UGC चेयरमैन थे. मुझे वो 3 शब्द याद आ रहे हैं. कितने सारे challenges है. Your paper is really wonderful, शाने. बट उन्होंने उसमें बड़ा सुंदर कहा था कि बहुत सारे challenges हैं. Within these challenges, we have this NEP 2020 also. Fine, a very big challenge for us to implement. But 3 शब्द थे, बहुत प्यारे हैं, मुझे बहुत बार याद आते हैं. उन्होंने कहा हम रिफॉर्म भी करेंगे. We will reform, transform, and perform. So with these positive, attitude, कितने भी hurdles आएंगे, but हम सब लोग कोशिश करेंगे for the proper implementation. और जितने भी issues हैं, सपेरा families के साथ तो हमारी sympathy, हमारी empathy सब कुछ है, but ये सबको ये चीज we all are facing this challenges. So with this, I once again thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Now our next presenter is, I would like to see the name, T. Sahaya Mary, and one more research scholar is with me on the screen, and the topic is also once again very interesting: digital games and innovative learning approach. So please, you move on.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm present.
Yes, please be comfortable, and you please present your paper.
Yeah.
Be comfortable.
Yesterday we had a good discussion with Sahaya Mary on gaming, right? I remember that.
Yes, sir. A very warm good afternoon to all of you. I think almost it is good evening. Am I audible, sir?
Yes. Very good.
Okay. Absolutely.
Before going to my presentation, let me register one thing here. Our famous philosopher Rabindranath Tagore, according to Tagore, a true teacher can never truly teach unless he is still learning himself. Actually, the Abhimanyu sir is very apt for this code. Since yesterday onwards, I could learn lot of things from sir. Thank you, sir. Even in this morning also, you just showed the notepad and just saying, today also I'm ready to take notes like that. So So these are things I'm learning. I have learned from you, sir, and also I thank to Subra ma'am and Rabindra sir and Shushma Vala ma'am. Yeah, you people are very actively in this forum international conference. Actually, in our own department also we are very vibrant, very dynamic. So I feel I'm in my own department like this. Thank you very much for the organizing committee, sir. And also let me introduce myself. I'm Sahaya Mary. I'm doing research under the guidance of Professor B. William Dharmaraja, sir, Dean of Arts, Head of Department of Education, Manoramaniya Sundarar University, Tirunelveli, Tamil Nadu. Yeah, let me enter into my presentation, digital games and innovative learning approach. Yeah, before going to presentation, let me have a few words on play. Yeah, we know the importance of play. Whenever we are playing, we have some energy and enthusiasm. We got refreshment also. Even I could remember my childhood days. Whenever we have a games period, we are very happy. Not only myself, you may feel like this. So play is a very essential thing in our life. So one can gain more energy and refreshment by playing, and also it is an important role in psychological, social, and intellectual development of a child. Actually, nowadays we are living in the technological era. So once we're shifting our playing to the digital games. Because of the technological advancement, we have more gadget for the learning. So interactive media technology has become a more prominent features of lives. Children can use mobile devices for many reasons. One of which is to play games. Even if I supposed to take my mobile, there are a lot of apps available because of my kids. But I don't know how to play many of the games. But even my kids know all the things because of the technology advancement. So they are easily used to use every apps and to play the games. Now, as I said earlier, now we are living in a digital generation. They are dissatisfied with the conventional education, and I don't want to blame anything because conventional education also they are improving day by day, but still they are not cope up with the digital generation. So one of the solutions to develop a teaching method called education game to learn mathematics. Because everyone have a negative opinion, not everyone, most of them have a negative opinion about maths. It is a boring subject, or it is a abstract subject. It is a difficult subject like that. Most of them having some opinion regarding mathematics. So it is the role of the teacher to arrange some proper way for learning mathematics. So I couldn't say it is the only way. It may be the one of the ways to learn maths through games. And also, as I said, digital games is nothing but any game that is played on a digital device. Actually, there is a software. It is a software to design the ender training, the more place for interactive in only. And it may provide entertainment at the least. And also, game-based learning. Now, let us look on the digital game-based learning. Actually, it is a teaching technique. It uses media for learning. With the educational game, individuals can learn concepts quickly, and those concepts are not erased from memory long time. And also, it enhances our level of retention also. So, game-based learning is best for max learning. And also, now let us move on importance of the game-based learning. Why we have to learn through the digital games? Actually, while learning from digital games, it have some fun or some enjoyment. The learners are actively participated in the learning activity. While I was a teacher in the mathematics, whenever the max period, the maximum of students are in passive. So it is too difficult job to make them active. But in place of educational games, they readily actively involved in the lessons. And also, as I said, there no place for boring. At the same time, we have to convey the concept. And also, it have some rich variety of auditory, touch, visual things. It stimulate the students' interest, and they are more enjoyable to learn. Next, let us importance of the mathematics. We know it is the foundations of all discipline. This knowledge is very needed for all the children. But here we have to quote one thing. Mathematics success is require not only the cognitive and metacognitive skills, it also far on the affective domain also. In mathematics, problem solving ability is one of the most thing, And if I take the educational digital game, every game it has some challenges. The users or learners has to overcome it. So automatically they learn the concept of problem solving through the digital game based learning. These are some of the findings I have reviewed for my studies. Really, it was very interesting. The game based learning increases students' interest, and also it enhances their confidence levels and their motivated enjoyment, engagement. They're very excited to playing games, and it is a very useful method to enhance their higher order thinking skills. Let us move on the characteristics of digital game-based learning. Suppose where the teacher has to adopt any game, it should have some characters. The game should be motivating. The game should be engaging. The learners participate is required for adopting a game, and also in game-based learning, the very important thing is it gives the immediate feedback. If you are taking a classroom in a normal classroom, it is not at all possible to give immediate possible 1:1. But in game-based learning, it gives the well-defined feedback, and also if the learners or users committing any mistake, it suggests a way like this. Just suggest a way to do this like this. So these are very important points note here. And also, if I supposed to adopt a game in my classroom, what are the features of this classroom? The game must be clear and concise, and also it should enhance engage the learners, and also it allows students to learn the concept and allowing them to express themselves, and also the game must contain the objectives of the learning. And also there are plenty of platforms out there which is not only for mathematics, we can use for all subjects. And also yesterday also I have shared this. There are platforms like Scratch and Gamefruit. Here we can able to design and program our own games. And also here there's a list of top websites. Just for example only I'm covering here like this. If you are explore this, you can able to explore plenty of games. Maximum of it is everything is free of cost. Some game they are asked to subscribe their app. And also you may hear about the OE or Open Educational Resources. There also you could find plenty of games, but there is no copyright issue there. The teacher may use these games into their learning. And also let us move on the benefits of game-based learning. As I discussed earlier, it gives the motivation. Actually, because of learning objective is linked to a series of challenges, the learners they automatically get motivated, and also engagement. Actually, digital games are they use lighting, movement, sound, and image. It attract the attentions of the students, and also competition. Actually, as I said earlier, there is a challenges the learner has to overcome. So automatically they are very ready to learn the concept. And also creativity. Actually, it fosters the creativity and flexibility in problem-solving learning, and also promising future perspective. Actually, the game has the potential to improve competency-based learning. So games element boost motivation, cognitive load, and performance. Yet it has a lot of pros in digital games. Some cons also there. We could not away from that. It is addiction. Yeah, most games are designed to be addictive. Actually, it is a role of teacher and parents to give some time. You have to play this game this much of time like that. So only we can overcome this. And also cost, like a previous paper, ma'am explained clearly, it is not at all easy to get all the gadgets. And also attention span. Due to the speed, such game activities can cause a decrease in student attention span. It may be happen. Okay, let me conclude my presentation. When game-based learning is done scientifically, it gives numerous profits. Actually, it revolutionizes conventional education. It is very critical to able to transmit knowledge in the language of students, and the language of today is technology. So, game-based approach to math learning are undeniably beneficial and engaging. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sahaya ma'am, for your beautiful presentation. Now, again, I would like to convey to my participants that is there any question or we move on?
It was a wonderful presentation. That's all I can say. That because we have discussed her concept yesterday also,
Yes.
and
Yes, yes.
very eloquent and very fluent presentation. Very nice. Even the presentation was the PPT theme was very creative in itself.
Yes.
So it was wonderful. I have no
Even
questions.
Sahaya ma'am, I am immediately after this program, I will share it to my students, my own two namunas I have.
I will
Thank you,
take
sir.
out the website from where to watch those games and all.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So shall we
Thank you,
move
sir.
on? Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
I also want to congratulate Mary. That was a wonderful presentation, Mary.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Well presented.
Okay. Now I would like to invite our next presenter, and here we have three research scholars from the cluster Central University of Jammu, Poonam Pandita, Sachin Kumar, and Chetna Suri. And the last but the most interesting, and Shubhra, I will share with you in the last, happiness curriculum. We have a great experience of that. We will discuss after this presentation. Happiness curriculum, a new vision towards education. So I am very much curious to listening to these scholars. So are you there?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes,
Very good
ma'am.
afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving this opportunity. So, good afternoon, everyone. Ma'am, slide is visible?
Yes, ma'am, your slide is clearly visible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Poonam Pandita, M.Ed scholar from Central University of Jammu, Department of Educational Studies, and I am going to present the paper named as Happiness Curriculum, a New Vision Towards Education, which is co-authored by Mr. Sachin Kumar and Ms. Chetna Suri, M.Ed scholar from Central University of Jammu. So first of all, I will discuss the objectives of the paper, and the objective of the paper is to identify and analyze the importance of happiness curriculum in our education system, to throw light on the elements of the happiness curriculum, to create awareness among the stakeholders of the education system about the implementation of happiness curriculum, to develop the insight of the stakeholders about the relationship between National Policy of Education 2020 and the happiness curriculum, to give some suggestions about the successful implementation of happiness curriculum. तो अगर हम प्रेजेंट एजुकेशन सिस्टम की बात करें तो इसका एम यही है कि हम स्किल्ड और कॉम्पिटेंट इंडिविजुअल्स को तैयार करें, बट इंडिविजुअल्स सिर्फ टेक्स्ट बुक लर्निंग से या फिर ट्रेडिशनल लर्निंग से ही स्किल्ड नहीं बन सकते। उनके लिए चाहिए कि वो खुद कंसेप्ट को एक्सप्लोर करें, वो मेटाकॉग्निशन एंड रिफ्लेक्टिव थिंकिंग का यूज करें, और सबसे बड़ी बात लर्नर स्ट्रेस फ्री इन्वायरमेंट में पढ़ें। बट अगर हम अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम की बात करते हैं तो वो एक स्टैंडर्ड करिकुलम स्कूल्स को प्रोवाइड कर देता है जिसमें बच्चों को 4 या 5 सब्जेक्ट्स डेली पढ़ने होते हैं और वो उनको रोज मल्टीपल कंसेप्ट्स लर्न करने पड़ते हैं। तो इससे क्या होता है, जो बच्चों की लाइफ के सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल्स हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं प्रॉपरली डेवलप नहीं हो पाते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट इंट्रापर्सनल एंड इंटरपर्सनल रिलेशनशिप्स, गुड मेंटल हेल्थ, लाइफ स्किल्स, self-confidence, awareness, mindfulness, open-mindedness, and problem-solving skills, they get ignored in our present education system. This ignorance definitely doesn't lead to joyful and meaningful learning. The happiness curriculum is the only way to get rid of this problem. It is well-known fact, ये हमें अच्छे से पता है, जब हम हैप्पी होते हैं तो हम ज़्यादा अच्छे से और इफेक्टिवली पढ़ पाते हैं, जबकि जब हम स्ट्रेस फ्री सिचुएशन में होते हैं तो हम नॉलेज को उतना इंटेक नहीं कर पाते हैं, उस लेवल की लर्निंग नहीं हो पाती है हमारी। So happiness curriculum is the initiative taken by Delhi government for promoting stress-free and fearless learning. Happiness curriculum is totally activity-based and students are not formally assessed under this curriculum. According to the happiness curriculum, students should attend the happiness classes of 45 minutes each day where they can participate in activities such as meditation and the other activities of their interest. आजकल हम देख सकते हैं बड़े सारे इंडिविजुअल्स ऐसे हैं जो सक्सेसफुल हैं बट वो हैप्पी नहीं हैं। इसका रीजन क्या है? इसका रीजन यही है कि उन्होंने खुद को कभी एक्सप्लोर ही नहीं किया, वो ऐसे ही कंपटीशन में भाग रहे हैं, उनको ये पता ही नहीं है उन्होंने क्या करना है, क्योंकि उन्होंने खुद को कभी एक्सप्लोर ही नहीं किया. But happiness curriculum provide learners to avail this opportunity. Now, methodology used. We have used the content analysis technique to analyze the content and information regarding the happiness curriculum. For this, we have gone through various journals, books, and NCERT articles. Now, I will discuss some elements of the happiness curriculum. So, the first and most important element of the happiness curriculum is activity-based learning. Happiness curriculum doesn't focus on textbook learning. Instead, it emphasizes to promote activities in the classroom so that students can learn incidentally and without any burden. Secondly, happiness curriculum aims to provide a flexible environment to the students where students are given opportunities to express themselves freely without any hesitation and restraints. Then qualitative assessment. It is the most important element of the happiness curriculum. There is no formal assessment for happiness classes. Instead, the teachers teaching through happiness curriculum assess children qualitatively by using happiness index. Next, mental exercises. अगर हम मेंटल एक्सरसाइजेस की बात करें तो मेंटल एक्सरसाइजेस हमारी स्ट्रेस को जो है वो रिलीज करती हैं, और हैप्पीनेस क्लासेस में क्या होता है, टीचर स्टूडेंट्स को मेंटल एक्सरसाइजेस में इन्वॉल्व करती है ताकि स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं उनकी अवेयरनेस को बढ़ाया जाए, उनकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स को बढ़ाया जाए, उनकी क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग स्किल्स को बढ़ाया जाए. Next, the most important, happiness curriculum is process based because it makes the process of learning efficient and effective instead of focusing on the outcomes. It tries to improve the process of learning by creating a conducive environment. Then storytelling methods. Yes, in happiness classes, teachers can make use of stories for teaching the children because it is an observed fact that stories promote the good mental health, develops curiosity, and awakens our mind. Then art-based learning model. Happiness curriculum is based on art-based learning model as it involves students in different types of art-based activities according to their interest. Then opportunities of exploration. In happiness classes, students are provided with the space where they can discover their potential. While they are learning theoretical concepts, they don't get time to discover their potential. But happiness curriculum is a way to discover their inner potential. Now I will discuss some importance of the happiness curriculum. Happiness curriculum promotes the mental well-being of the students. It is also the best way of coping with stress and anxiety. It develops the critical thinking and problem-solving ability of the students. It also enhances the concentration power of students. It doesn't only promote meaningful and happy learning, but it is also significant for the all-round development of the child. It will also improve the student-teacher relationship because when teacher will promote discussions and activities in the classroom, they will get more chance to interact with their students and there is no formal assessment. So students don't fear from their teachers. Instead, they feel happy and free to interact with their teachers. It also develops the life skills of students like managing activity, communication skills, interpersonal skills, social skills, problem solving skills, and many more. Now I will discuss the relationship between National Policy of Education and Happiness Curriculum. अगर हम नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑफ एजुकेशन 2020 को देखें, उसमें जो पैडागोजिकल और जो लर्निंग आइडियाज दिए हैं वो क्लियरली रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहे हैं हैप्पीनेस करिकुलम को. हम अगर हैप्पीनेस करिकुलम के एलिमेंट्स को देखें तो वो बड़े सिमिलर हैं नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑफ एजुकेशन 2020 के एलिमेंट से. जैसे कि जो
Poonam, please dear, I prefer you use English because South Indian participants are also there.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
So the pedagogical and learning ideas in National Policy of Education 2020 are clearly reflecting the idea of happiness curriculum. If we look at the elements of happiness curriculum, they are similar to the elements of National Policy of Education 2020. National Policy of Education is also based on the principles of experiential learning, art-based learning, toy-based learning, discovery learning, and many more. And it also aims to promote joyful and happy learning. National Policy of Education 2020 have also recommended some bagless days for children 6 to 8 standards, in which they get chance to interact with local vocational experts so that students can learn vocational skills as well as they can enjoy the learning process. National Policy of Education have also attempted to address the rigorous curriculum and have recommended the flexibility in curriculum so that students can learn the subjects of their own choice and can learn the subject with greater potential. So we can say that both happiness curriculum and National Policy of Education aims to help the child developing self-confidence, self-awareness, life skills, mindfulness, teamwork, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. Now I want to recommend some points. Teachers should make efforts not only to increase the intelligent quotient of the children, rather they should also try to enhance the happiness quotient of the children. Teachers should be well equipped with the skills to promote joyful learning environment in the classroom. Formative assessment should be more instead of summative assessment. Successful implementation of National Policy of Education will also help to promote the happiness curriculum. So the serious efforts should put on the successful implementation of the policy. Educators and teachers should realize that happiness is a skill and developing in children is as important as other skills. For spreading happiness in the classroom, teachers also need to be happy. So firstly, efforts should be made to produce the happier teachers so that they can create the happiness environment in the classroom. For that, autonomy should be given to the teachers and they should be trusted by educational administrators. Reasonable work should be given to the students so that they don't feel frustrated and can have scope for enjoying learning. Teachers should also try to promote the emotional and mental well-being of the students. Meditation and exercises should be treated as an essential part of the curriculum. In nutshell, we can say that promoting happiness among learners is very important to produce mindful and confident learners. In present scenario, learners are dealing with lot of uncertainties that will make them feel stressed, which reduce their learning capacity as well as thinking skills. Delhi has taken a good initiative to start happiness classes in their schools. Apart from Delhi, other states like Andhra Pradesh and Uttarakhand are also trying to promote the happiness curriculum in the schools. Even National Policy of Education is also reflecting the idea of happiness curriculum. So successful implementation of the National Policy of Education will surely lead to the implementation of happiness curriculum, and promoting the happiness quotient of teachers is the first step of promoting happiness curriculum. At last, we can say that happiness should be recognized as an important skill of the learner and efforts should be made to promote it through happiness curriculum. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Chetna. JNK, India, they have taken the initiative for the enhancement of the faculty, and the program is Faculty Enhancement Program with the help of this Art of Living, isn't it, Shubhra? And Shubhra has created that group, Palmegio. Palmegio is the name for that. But today the activity is a little bit changed. Abhimanyu sir and all the presenter, you please, we will all, what was that, Abhimanyu sir? Goodbye or what is this?
Ma'am, this is not this. This is clapping.
Clap.
Clap.
Clapping. Yeah. Do like this. Deaf and mute people do like this.
Okay.
Clap like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all do this and we feel very happy. Thank you so much.